Coming up, Tzu Chi volunteers host a winter aid distribution as part of the Northern Thailand Poverty Alleviation Program. Inspired by their own grandparents, we see how the younger generation is inventing things to help the elderly live with more respect. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Marilee Shioda. Thank you for joining us. Tzu Chi volunteers from Thailand held a winter aid distribution for residents living in the remote mountainous region of northern Thailand at the Chiang Mai City School. While the recipients were happy to receive relief items to get through the winter, the volunteers were happy to be able to help. A light fog covers Chiang Mai City School while aid recipients arrive for the aid distribution. Students are also there to welcome them with a cup of warm tea and snacks and also bring them chairs to sit in. The aid recipients of this winter distribution come from the remote villages of Chai Prakan. Living near the border of northern Thailand, these residents farm for a living and get by on a meager income. During these cold winter days living in the mountains, grandmother Pongkung is most happy to receive a pair of socks.
These items help us immensely. I also receive socks to keep warm.
I'm happy to have received Tzu Chi's winter aid items. Tzu Chi has given us blankets and comforters. It looks of good quality.
Besides the winter socks and clothes prepared by the volunteers, a local entrepreneur also joined the event by personally handing out the aid items he donated.
It's quite a joyous occasion when benefactor and receiver can meet. This is the greatest joy I've received from today's event.
Meanwhile, some Tzu Chi volunteers are busy collecting the plastic bags and ropes.
It's a waste if it's just thrown away. By collecting it up, these items can be reused. The ropes can be used to tie things up. It's all useful.
The distribution with over 300 volunteers helped a total of 2,984 households. The event also had a health check area and free haircut services, helping the residents get through the winter in style. In our next piece, we'll see how volunteers from Malaysia made a trip to Myanmar to help build some prefabricated classrooms for the school children there. Recently, an elementary school was upgraded into a junior high and forced many children to take classes in unstable temporary classrooms. Knowing that school in Wa Township needed assistance, Tzu Chi volunteers immediately stepped in to make sure the children had a safe and comfortable learning environment.
This is the only primary school here in Wa Township, Jalala village in Myanmar. Last year, it was upgraded to a junior high, and there were not enough classrooms to go around, forcing children to take class in temporary rooms. In recent years in Myanmar, Tzu Chi volunteers have formed close affinities with these communities because of the frequent flooding in the region.
We volunteers in Malaysia have been making trips to Myanmar one after the other to help some regions. And we see that even in their temples, there's no electricity. In Malaysia, we have everything.
To provide these students with a safe and stable classroom out of the sun and rain, volunteers from Malaysia have flown in to help them build a school. One of the early Tzu Chi volunteers who started planting seeds of love here was volunteer Hong Hai Seo, who was a volunteer at the disaster relief in 2008 when Cyclone Nargis struck.
I hope the students of Myanmar will be able to happily use this school.
These volunteers, Luo Junzhong is an auto mechanic and Lia Ho Wai is a practitioner of Chinese medicine. They have both temporarily left their regular careers to be here volunteering on this project.
When I thought about it, I just knew I wanted to help. I felt it was the right thing to do to build this school and a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to help.
These volunteers have had a lot of experience with building these simple structures over the years, from the flooding in Kelantan, Malaysia, to the earthquake in Nepal. These volunteers are becoming experienced in this line of work.
After building structures in Nepal, I discovered how, with other methods, we can work much quicker and be more cost-effective to simplify the construction. That was the start of the third generation.
Here in Myanmar, these volunteers are putting their heart into this school project to help these students enjoy a proper educational environment.
After the Ebola outbreak in West Africa's Sierra Leone 3 years ago, Tzu Chi U.S. headquarters have been collaborating with the Caritas Foundation and the Healy Foundation to gather aid supplies from Asia and deliver them to the Ebola sufferers. To prepare for the upcoming poverty relief work in Sierra Leone for the next 2 years, the executive directors of the two foundations traveled to Taiwan to meet with Master Zhen Yan. The directors also visited DaAi TV station to learn more about educational issues.
Master and a mentor.
This is the first time that Father Peter Contact came to Taiwan to visit DaAi TV station. His last trip was to meet with the Pope in Vatican City and report about the fight against the Ebola outbreak in West Africa's Sierra Leone.
We responded with collaboration with Tzu Chi to help people who are suffering. And so the Pope now wants to help in Zika crisis. And so he wanted us to share our experiences, the good practices we had, what we could do better.
Before the rainy season 6 months ago, a large-scale aid distribution was held in West Africa's Sierra Leone. When the Ebola outbreak invaded this region in 2014, Tzu Chi has continued to help local residents fight against the virus since March last year. Tzu Chi USA headquarters collaborated with Caritas Foundation and Healy Foundation to deliver medical supplies and gloves to the needy.
Right now, we're supporting four hospitals. We're looking to maybe establish 2 more. And we have 10 clinics, and we want to expand that to 40 clinics.
Moving forward, Sierra Leone still has a lot of needs, so we will continue to support Ebola survivors and orphans of Ebola with food supplies and also other vulnerable populations.
To solve the issue of poverty, volunteers from the United States, the Philippines, as well as Taiwan are working together to raise daily supplies such as clothes, shoes, and nursing food, as well as provide educational services for the less fortunate.
In Sierra Leone, we have a high illiteracy rate, and we know that Master Cheng Yang and the Tzu Chi Foundation is very big in supporting education, so we want to go in that way to see how we can help to eradicate ignorance in the minds and hearts of Sierra Leoneans.
In preparation of the relief work in Sierra Leone for the next 2 years, they have made their way to Taiwan to gather more love for the disadvantaged.
Autumn and winter is a time when many with lung diseases flare up with increased sputum, coughing, asthma, and even chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Chinese medicine practitioners suggest that those with lung disease do some abdominal stretching and deep breathing exercises to improve their lung functions. They also encourage drinking special teas to maintain healthy lungs.
Traditionally, many people believe that one cure for lung disease was a type of abdominal breathing.
Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease patients aren't able to bring in air. The best part of abdominal breathing is that you arch up to increase the amount of air you can pull into your lungs.
Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease patients in the autumn and winter are more prone to coughing, sputum, and asthma. Chinese medicine practitioners recommend abdominal breathing, along with stretching exercises to strengthen lung function.
The first step is breathe in and bring your palms up to your chest and in the highest possible place. And gently exhale. And slowly bring your hands back down to your sides.
Modern life includes a lot of stress, and Chinese medicine experts want to use breath to clean the liver and exhale toxins through breath using the mouth.
Breathe in and hold your hands by your chest and take your right foot out and stretch it out. And take your hands like pulling on a bow at the same time, inhaling into your chest and holding out your hand as far as you can. Now exhale and take your left hand and stretch it out gently as far as you can. And exhale and come back into position.
Chinese medicine believes that the source of energy is the kidney, and for patients with COPD, training lung function can also develop a strong kidney.
把双脚踏开，与肩同宽。
Spread your feet to shoulder width, and then put your hands to your side, and then gently stand on your toes to the maximum
脚
level.
尖轻轻地垫起来，垫到最高，同时吸气。
And then breathe in all the way,
吸到满的时候，
and then slowly settle back down.
往下放下去，吐气。那这个
Exhaling and inhaling this way can replenish the energy in the
的
kidney.
作用，我们叫纳气于肾的作用。
In treating patients with COPD, Chinese medicine practitioners seek to expel phlegm with 12 grams of dried Romania root, 12 grams of astragalus, and 4 grams of licorice, which is added to 1,000 cc of water, which is brought to a boil. Long-term sufferers of COPD can drink this tea to prevent long-term inflammation, with this recipe being handed down by ancestors incorporating 5,000 years of medical wisdom.
Tzu Chi's assistance for families in need is often in the form of direct aid items and follow-up care. In Guatemala, Tzu Chi volunteers packaged up aid items to be given out in a gift basket presentation and handed it out to care recipients in San Jose Pinula before the upcoming holiday. This 88-year-old grandmother happily receives her aid supplies from Tzu Chi wrapped up like a present. Next, volunteers visit Augustine's home to give him relief items. At 62 years of age, he's never relied on another person despite his cerebral palsy. 7-year-old Leslie welcomes the volunteers with open arms and a smile. As it's nearing the holidays, Guatemala City volunteers visit 17 of their care recipients in San Jose Pinula to give them aid supplies for the winter. Each of these recipients has physical ailments, but the love and care by the volunteers have helped ease their suffering and fulfill their spiritual needs. No matter these recipients are on the highs or lows in their life, Tzu Chi volunteers will always be by their side, supporting them each step of the way. Taiwanese industrial designer Xia Yao has created special tableware for those suffering from Alzheimer's, winning first prize at the Stanford University Center on Longevity Design Competition. A number of other universities in Taiwan have also added Geron technology departments to encourage more innovations to help the elderly people. However, integrating this academic research into actual products that become available on the market is still a major challenge. Progress in this area could potentially help more young graduates find jobs while making the lives of the elderly a little easier.
I was inspired by my grandmother who had Alzheimer's. Every time when I saw her suffer, I wish I could have done something to help her to have better quality of life.
To help her grandmother suffering from Alzheimer's, 32-year-old Xia Yao spent 2.5 years creating this exclusive tableware,
which is a very user-centered design that can help to increase food intake, maintain dignity for its users, while also help to alleviate caring burdens by making the process of eating as easy as possible.
In 2014, Xia Yao's tableware won the U.S. Stanford Center on Longevity Design Competition. She used the award money to set up a website to raise funds and start a studio in San Francisco. In addition to actively promoting the tableware, she also became involved in researching other aids for seniors.
This color format can be used to play a game. Stepping on these different colors can cause this LED light to flash. Some patients with dementia use light to stimulate their brains to delay brain degeneration.
This interactive mat, which can be connected to a separate app to use in rehabilitating elders. It can also be transformed into a piano for a family game.
When we saw our product really become available on the market, we felt that it could really benefit users and make their lives a little easier. We were truly happy about this.
This is mainly a toy for the elderly to do upper limb or lower limb rehabilitation. This helps elders do some rehabilitation. When you move, it also moves and reacts to your hand moving.
Using this familiar windmill, students creatively outfit it with sensors to become a simple rehabilitation tool for the elderly or to train children to have greater coordination. These graduate students at the Geron Technology Research Center are designing all these products to be tested on the elderly.
When we gave it to this elderly woman, she felt that it was a lot of fun and it actually helped her as she encouraged me to continue developing it.
In the 2013 academic year, there are only 29 gerontology studies programs in Taiwan, and by the 2015 academic year, the number rose to 45. While this growth is promising, there are still some deficiencies.
The educational system is a little behind. We have 2 students. His master's class is information management, but he very much wants to use information communication technology for elderly care and wants to join our team. But in the end, he continued to get a doctoral degree in engineering.
Although products targeting the elderly are getting more and more attention, but how to integrate the current education system with back-end manufacturing is one way in which to solve the problem of youth employment, potentially creating a win-win situation.
Tzu Chi University and the University of Helsinki, Finland are cooperating on a 9-year project to learn more about preschool education. They hope that much can be learned from research conducted in these 2 different countries and potentially develop new teaching methods for preschool children.
Outdoor classes allow children the opportunity to play and can aid their concentration.
In Taiwan, it is often that now is learning time. Now we sit down and write something and don't move. But in fact, it is better to combine physical activity and learning.
Tzu Chi University and University of Helsinki, Finland cooperated on a professional development program for teachers. A Finland professor visited 19 kindergartens in Taiwan and shared his observations with the teachers.
From what they learned in Finland, this information was passed down to teachers here, including problems that they encountered in the classroom and what teachers should pay attention to and develop their own programs.
Teachers participating in the program returned to school and used rope and wood to erect the tree house to give children more outdoor activities, even increasing their outdoor playtime from 1 hour to half a day.
Recently, we found that children are learning characters even faster. In 1 week, they can learn about 10 different Chinese characters, which we attribute to more outdoor activities. Even though we reduce the amount of time they spend in the classroom, we have learned that they in fact learn more because they are more focused.
To aid the development of education in the future, students and teachers from Tzu Chi University's Department of Child Development and Family Studies plan to go to Finland next year for an educational exchange to learn new teaching methods.
After the food safety crisis in Taiwan, it has become important to find real and safe food. To help students learn about healthy eating, Taiwan Sugar Corporation worked with 5 schools in Tainan to teach students about food education.
Holding the seedlings carefully, these children are growing vegetables. Seeds must be planted evenly so the vegetables can grow up well. The students remember the steps and apply them. They must also find ways to rid of worms and use ways that won't hurt the land to grow tasty vegetables.
I learned something about growing vegetables. The vegetables grown this way will become tasty and beautiful.
We took students to visit our organic farms so they could know the whole procedure. After they returned to the schools, they would grow their vegetables, so they also learned to cherish food and our land.
The school uses this empty lot to teach students about the food does not come by easily. This lesson targets schools in the city about using the roof to grow vegetables, in addition to some corners on the campus.
They use the free time after they sweep the floor in the morning or between classes. They take turns to go to the roof to look after the vegetables.
With a food and agriculture education, students are expected to cherish every bite of food in their mouths.
Staying in Taiwan, this year the Council of Agriculture started a plant physician program, and 26-year-old Gao Pei-Lin is the first and only plant doctor in the country. She is an important asset to farmers as they now have a reliable source to help them with agricultural problems. After the other half of the plant became withered, he cut it off and thought it would be okay. But after a while, this part is withering.
She is Gao Pei-Lin, a plant intern. She gives diagnosis of a plant like a person. She now serves farmers with her profession.
She is very helpful to farmers like me. I didn't know anything about this disease, so I simply came to her. She knew what plagued the plant and gave me the medicine.
In the past, farmers used their knowledge or asked pesticide stores for help when they saw their crops were being plagued by diseases, or they would ask the Agricultural Research Station for help. But all this would take up a lot of time, so the Council of Agriculture started this plant intern program.
I can prevent farmers from buying too much of useless medicines, or when a disease has just begun, I can give cures right away. Thus, the farmers don't need to spend much time and energy to put it under control.
After the Gao Pei-Lin finished her graduate studies, she went to do her intern in the village. She helps farmers solve their problems and also check the health of farm crops for consumers.
As 2017 is approaching, Tzu Chi University of Science and Technology held a year-end ceremony where 780 freshmen received Master Zhenyan's red envelopes of blessing and wisdom.
131 teachers and students performed a sign language song from the Sutra adaptation of 37 Principles to Enlightenment to begin the year-end ceremony at Tzu Chi University of Science and Technology. Some performing students are Christians.
Taking part in this activity can bring peace to my mind because whether one is Buddhist or Christian, joining in the sign language performance can bring everyone together. You can see it as love or affinity.
The red envelopes they receive from the Dharma Masters of the Jinsi Abode include blessing and wisdom of Master Zhenyan. To the students who received them the first time, this is quite meaningful.
1 year is about to end. This is different from the red envelopes I will receive from my parents. This is more positive and also includes blessings.
The Dharma Masters do not know us, but they still gave us the blessing. So I'm very happy about it. I hope I can help other people.
Students also donate to help Syrian children. As the new year is approaching, 780 freshmen light up their lamps and pray for the world free of disaster.
Earlier this month, a fire in Luzhou burned through an industrial part of the town where many factories were victims of the blaze. Tzu Chi volunteers visited once more to see how they can help these factory owners get through this difficult time. That's all the time we have for today. We thank you for joining us. Goodbye.